And we are live. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever it is you are in the world, and welcome to another edition of Kyoto by Night, the Kindred of the East venue. We're starting our scene tonight in the southern part of the KbN territory. The Court of Four Winds borders are just within sight as the Sosen, or ancestor of the Court of the Four Winds, currently sits in a private room within the tea house that is just overlooking some of the more prominent features of the sort of western parts of Kyoto. She is joined by an individual that had arrived in the city only a short time ago. And after a semi-lengthy conversation of a casual nature, she finally stops informing her about the various dealings with the non-aggression pact with Hengyokai and why they don't go to the south and things of that nature. But she finally stops as one of her retainers comes to her and whispers into her ear, and she looks at this rather enchanting young woman. Tell me, if I were to get a few of my younger associates here, would you be particularly interested in taking on a task this evening?
Perhaps, depending on the task.
It will all come down to how well you undertake it. It could be very easy or very difficult. As she says this, she nods to the man in the finely pressed suit who takes out it looks to be more like a BlackBerry than a smartphone, and begins to send out a few text messages to one individual by the name of Katsu and one individual by the name of Pate. And will be arriving shortly. But in the meantime, Sosen just simply smiles and waits, sipping on the nice warm tea. And the other two gentlemen can make their entrance when they wish.
Okay. So Pate and Katsu arrive together from our previous sending out that the Susan had given us. And I stand at a respectful distance and bow.
You'll notice that she doesn't appear at all the same as she did in the temple itself, in the court's seat, so to speak. She's wearing a little bit more of a more casual attire. Her hair is obviously different color, and she seems to be a bit more relaxed, a little bit less rigid, a little bit less poised, but still holding all of that natural grace that seems to come in abundance from her. But she simply nods at Katsu and Pate and waves them over to the table to join with them.
Isatsu Meo, how may we help you this evening? You have sent for us?
Yes, please come join us and introduce yourselves to my new companion here.
Katsu takes a seat and looks at the new person. Which she look like?
Xiaoxiang is a little on the taller side. She's slender, pale, dark hair. She currently has it up in kind kind of vintage style finger waves, but it's actually in a bun in the back. She's wearing a slightly more modern 3/4 length sleeve cheongsam with short heels. She's dressed very semi-formal, not overly formal, but very nice.
Okay.
Isatsu, I am Pate Yaloko.
Mm.
I'll take a seat as well.
It is a pleasure to meet both of you. I am Xiaoxiang.
Ah, another fellow traveler from afar.
Mm. Indeed.
Sosin simply just smiles at this. There's a certain cultural diversity among the court at the moment that might do this area some good. Make it a little less stuffy at times. Now, the three of you I would ask, this is more of a request than necessarily an order, but there is a bit of concern I have about a region just to our immediate northeast, not too far from where you met with Little Fu, Pate, and Katsu. There is a group of what I would call street toughs, those with delusions of grandeur. They have always stayed in the realm of petty thievery and things of that nature, obviously below our notice. However, they have absconded recently with a rather expensive and a rather important heirloom. It is a ceremonial item, mostly for decoration, if they were to describe it, but worth some considerable amount of money, as it is made solidly of jade. I don't think I need to tell you why that is important for us.
Hmm. Would this be some sort of Yakuza gang, or are they below such organizations?
Like I said, a loose organization with delusions of grandeur. I don't think they would know organized crime if it jumped up and smacked them in the face. Now, of course, it would be desirable if the three of you could obtain it without having to resort to any sort of violence, but as I have known of these individuals for a fair bit, going on 5 years now, I can tell you quite honestly that there is a definite chance that they may be, well, less than accommodating. My only stipulation for this is that if you have somehow procured them, no firearms be used. Firearms draw far too much attention, as I'm sure you're aware.
Very well, Susan. We shall take care of this matter for you.
And if you should have need to use force, I'm not too particularly interested or concerned what happens to their remains. And she'll eye the bone flower when she says this, with a slight grin on her face. Now, if you will, I shall excuse myself, as I have other matters to attend to this evening. And with that, she stands, gives them a slight bow at the nod of the head, just with the nod of the head, and very quickly makes her way out as her entourage takes her out to their rather nice-looking sedan outside. And within moments, she is gone.
All right. Well, then I suppose we shouldn't waste any time in taking care of this matter.
Indeed, we should.
Have you come on your own transportation, Chow, or will you be wanting to travel with us?
I always do appreciate the company of others.
Good. Then it'll give us an opportunity to interact and get to know a little bit better so that we can be fully prepared to face this challenge.
Of course.
And how would the group like to travel this evening? Out of character, how would they like to travel?
Does Katsu own a vehicle?
Cat hasn't had a chance to stipulate on a kind of vehicle, but with his resources of 3, I'm pretty sure he would have been able to procure one by now.
More or less, yeah.
I'm not sure what is popular in Japan at the moment.
I'm sure something economical, but if you wanted to take a step up to a sedan, that would be alright. It wouldn't be leather seats or anything on the inside with resources 3, but it would be comfortable.
Okay, then we'll go with the sedan.
Alright. Then, Katsu, please lead your compatriots out to the car.
Alright. Well, as we go out and get in the car, he unlocks it with the fob and gets in the driver's seat, waiting for the other 2 to come in.
I will open the passenger door and gesture for our new companion to get in.
And she will get in, a little nod.
And then I'll close the door and get in the back of the vehicle. So, it sounds like level-headedness is not what we're going to be going up against this evening in trying to procure this item.
But you first.
My apologies. Probably not. They sound like they lack any reasonable amount of logic.
But just because they don't have any logic doesn't mean they can't be manipulated. Just means they can't be greatly reasoned with.
Hmm. Everyone can be manipulated.
Well, and really what we need to figure out is what either do they want more than this item, or what do they fear more than losing this item. Those will be two keys in being able to acquire it without violence. Unless we're just going to sneak in and take it out from without their noticing.
Let's see what their place looks like. If it's, I'm thinking either A, we could act as prospective buyers, because I assume they would want to fence this, or possibly we could act as muscle from a higher organization who has had it with their freelancing.
Well, on that note, that's a good idea, Katsu. Could we make one stop on our way there, and I'll see to find out if they've already put out word that they have this and are trying to fence it.
Very good. Where would you like me to stop?
Okay, so I'll give directions to my Streetwise contact.
Okay.
Okay.
We're getting influence rolls! Yay!
Yeah, because I have influence of 1 for street, and I have 1 minor contact that I have set up for that influence.
Okay. What would you like to do with your influence contact?
I want to find out not just if this item is attempting to be fenced, but I want to find out what level of professionalism these guys were dealing with. Like, I know the Ancestor doesn't have a high opinion on their ability as underworld gangs, but I kind of want to know, like, are we really dealing with amateurs that are going to be like going all Three Stooges, or are we dealing with people that are actually more capable than maybe they're letting on?
Fair enough. And since all of your influence is probably centered in Quagian territory, I will just give me a straight just give me a straight charisma and add your contact and street influence. Charisma streetwise with those two added in as the extra dice roll. And difficulty will be I'll give you a difficulty 5 because you do have the contact and the influence.
Okay. Got 3 successes.
Okay. What they give you is that these individuals who have lovingly referred to themselves as the Alto family, they have a reputation of being brigands, and in the past, in years past, they were really little more than petty criminals. A little bit of thievery here, a little bit of extortion. They were known sometimes to hold gambling in locations where they frequented. But in the recent year or so, they've kind of tightened up their ship. They're not what anyone would call professional criminals, but they are experienced enough that they do have a camaraderie together and they do work together. And this could be very comparable to kind of a your average street gang abroad. Street gang, I should say, rather, abroad. But your contact does give you as much information as he can on the subject.
Okay.
That particular role.
Excellent. So something's happened in the last year that they've turned around. I'm wondering what kind of outside influence might be affecting on this. And I will voice those concerns to my comrades after I get back in the vehicle. These guys are basically just petty criminals and brigands, and last year, suddenly now they're starting to get their act together. So there may be some outside influence, whether it's one of ourselves, an Akuma, member of the Kinjin, or some other Shen that may be trying to maneuver or manipulate them.
If something else has interest invested in them, and I would not be surprised if they had a few unsuspected tricks up their sleeves.
Excellent. So how do you two think now? Going as prospective buyers would probably still be a good idea. I'm thinking or wondering if it would make good sense if the two of you would go as the buyers and I attempt to observe unnoticed, to kind of watch your back while you guys are attempting to engage them in conversation.
I think that might be the safest option. For if we posed as a more organized gang, they might want to, how do you call it, bow up, to show their strength against us. And that would not end well.
Well, and you seem to be, if I may say so, attempting to similarly come at this from a cold mind, and so I think that would be strength in the negotiations discussion. And our comrade, should things go south, is definitely going to have the fiery passion required to engage them on their terms.
Indeed.
There's still 3 of them. Are you guys able to help at all? If things do
Sorry,
go south.
pardon?
I
don't
say
know
if things do go south.
Oh. Well, so the suggestion would be that if the two of you went posing as prospective buyers, and I would be unnoticed as a ace in the hole in case things go south, that they would think they're dealing with 2 when actually there's 3.
Okay. And how do you plan to be unseen?
I have been trained in dark chi that should be able to obscure me from their observations.
Okay. Well then. Did you find out if the item in question was being advertised for sale?
They are attempting to fence it, but they are a much more organized, from a much more organized angle. Over the past year, they've gotten a lot more organized. So I'm suspecting that there's an outside influence.
Well, the fact that I'm not sure we can actually pay the amount they want, what is the exit plan?
Actually, when you suggested posing as buyers, I thought you had an exit plan for when that wasn't possible.
Oh, I was merely voicing as they say, brainstorming a plan. I'm guessing once we see the item, we can try a snatch and flee idea. Then again, depending where they take us, that might be possible.
If only we had something we could bargain with, so to say. If we had something that they thought was far more valuable than what they have, even though it actually would be. We could convince them to trade somehow.
Does anyone have an item?
No.
Do either of you know anyone to contact that might have an item that we could pose as valuable?
Well, if we're only posing as valuable, or I guess you mean to actually physically have something?
Well, if it is valuable as we say it is, we obviously would not have it with us.
Exactly. So.
Oh, okay.
Then I guess it just depends how convincing you can be that we actually have something that is valuable enough for trade. And then we can make arrangements to meet them for a trade-off.
Perhaps. But what would be convincing enough?
Gold.
You guys have a decent amount of streetwise?
I have 1 dot in streetwise specifically.
Looking for somewhere around in the 3 category, and I don't think, or judging by your silence, I don't think anybody has that.
No.
Okay, that's fair. Not everybody does.
So we would possibly think of, think of something. These guys were, you said, brigands and petty crimes usually up until the last year.
Yes.
Now they're dealing with a jade item. So another antique, like a ancient vase or something, say we've recently acquired something that we are uncertain if we can fence it discreetly. And since these guys have happened to be able to get this thing, and so we think it would be in everybody's best interest if they took this vase off our hands and we get this jade in there in its place.
Yeah, but then they might ask us why we're fencing this better item for this bit of jade when what would we do with this jade item? They might be they might be smart enough to think, wait, why are they taking this item instead of fencing it on their own? And why
I
would
guess
they take this?
I guess it just depends how convincing you are as to how much of a good deal it is for us.
Maybe we could say we represent a collector who is willing to exchange for the other product.
That would even be better, because then our collector would be able to pay them in cash. However, he's not going to send cash with us unless you guys can confirm that they actually have what he's looking for.
Okay. That's it.
Does that sound like a solid enough plan?
Alright, does our intrepid group of Cathayans decide to move on up to the northeastern section of Huijin Town?
Okay. On our way there, or we may have to park a little bit of ways, but I'll need about a half hour of preparation to be able to stealthily follow you without being observed.
Okay.
I know think I know what you're getting ready to do, so are you going to roll yourself a ritual, sir?
I am, and I'm actually going to be a little paranoid, so I'm not only going to use the Harmony with Night ritual, but I'm also going to use level 1 of Yin Prana.
Okay. So you're spending one yin chi. Make sure that you repeat that. And then go ahead and roll.
Okay, and that's intelligence. Intelligence rituals, correct?
Yes. In the meantime, anyone else saying anything, doing anything, preparing?
I'm just having my artifacts on me, just in case things go really south.
Alright. I see a couple of successes there. I'm guessing this is one of your level 1 rituals, correct?
No, it's the level 2 ritual that I have. So it gives me, for the scene, I get 2 automatic successes on all stealth rolls, on top of what I roll.
Nice.
And then with level 1 Yin Prana, as long as I move no faster than walking through shadowy areas, I'm effectively invisible and inaudible. And if anybody has supernatural perception, they can notice me on a perception alertness difficulty 8.
Okay. Alrighty then. So, you guys sort of linger around for about half an hour or so as Pate prepares this ritual. And in doing so, once the ritual is complete, it's just something about him that seems to be fairly sort of elusive, and the other bone flower in the party should probably notice that there just seems to be a certain very graceful way about that the Pate enacts this ritual that almost strikes a chord with the teachings of your Dharma. Might be just something that, in a time where matters aren't so direct, that you'll maybe be able to have a word about what he's doing. But 30 minutes pass, and Pate, I suppose that you are ready to do what it is that you need to do. So then it is up to Katsu and still Chow to do as they are going to do. You are basically in front of what looks to be something of a, well, it's pretty much a house. It's not like a clandestine warehouse or anything like that, but it does actually have a small auto garage adjacent to it. This isn't anything like an actual serious garage. This almost looks like something, maybe it might have been a smaller house that was converted at one time. It's hard to say really by this point. But you do see like a big heavy sliding door on one side. You see the gated off house, so to speak. It's part of the entire neighborhood, so the yard itself is not all that impressive. It's really just a small patch of grass behind about a 7-foot wall. And there is a big heavy metal gate, and there do seem to be some people lingering around outside, which is a bit odd this late in the evening. But Chow and Katsu, what is it that you're going to do this evening?
Katsu is going to turn to Chow. I'll let you do the talking unless it seems to you run up against any difficulties, then I'll try and take over.
That is understandable.
Very good. So he'll wait for her to move first, and he'll follow and basically act as her bodyguard.
She'll probably, walk up to the door.
Standing just outside the heavy metal gate that actually gives you entry and access into the small front yard of the of this little complex, there's a man standing there. He looks kind of young, kind of has a loose tie, kind of looks a little slovenly, maybe not exactly the epitome of high fashion. Looks to be a little bit scruffy haired, maybe a high school dropout. It's really hard to tell what exactly he looks like, but he's kind of leaning back against the mortar wall, so to speak, and he's got his hands behind his head, and he's kind of got like a red straw in his teeth, probably a coffee stir more than straw that he seems to be chewing on as you both approach him, and he'll kind of look forward with a slight bit of effort and come up to his feet and just kind of lowers his arms down to his side as he walks up to Chow. And then he very blatantly looks her up and down while chewing on the straw and finally asks, "What do you want?"
My friends and I would like to speak to your employer. We have business to discuss.
Business. I wasn't
Yes.
told of any business.
Oh, I'm surprised. Nonetheless.
Okay. Business. He'll walk up to the gate and just kind of look through the, not really a peephole, but it's just kind of like a eye level, like relief in the actual iron with a few bars in it. There seems to be a small mail slot underneath it, so it doesn't look like it was anything that had a specific purpose in mind other than the actual architecture. But he kind of whispers something to the man on the other side, and the man on the other side, you can kind of hear that little chirp of like a portable radio or a miniature walkie-talkie. And the man on the other side of the gate kind of whispers back to the gatekeeper, so to speak, and he nods and he looks back at her. He wants to know what exactly you're here for.
I work for a collector, and he is interested in something he would greatly pay very much money for.
And he nods and he looks back and he speaks to the person on the other gate. You hear the chirp again. This time there's a little bit longer of a pause. And then finally you hear, the radio come on again. The young man kind of nods as he's told something, and he walks over and looks to Chow and simply says to her, "Would you please hold up your hands?"
Of course. And she does.
And he respectfully pats her down. One might expect that in a situation like that, you can very easily find a man taking advantage of someone in that situation, but he doesn't do that. He just kind of checks on the outer leg and just on the inner leg, just up to the knee, and then moves on over to Katsu, and then looks at him with a bit less kindness, so to speak. Arms up.
He puts them up.
And he'll begin to pat him down. Do you have anything on you?
Nothing except those gold ring type things.
Gold ring pipe, is that what we're calling them?
Huh?
Are these what I think they are?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Okay. He's going to stop and kind of keep his hand clasped about those, and he's going to look at Katsu directly in the eye. What are these?
Trinkets.
Trinkets, you say? Can I inspect them, please?
Sure. But don't leave my sight.
And he'll hold out his hand.
And he'll give him one and take a look.
And these are in the shape of a claw, correct?
I believe so. I don't think they're very sharp.
He's going to look them over, and he's going to kind of press his thumb into the point, and then hands it back to Katsu, and then walks over to the door, knocks on it a couple times, and the heavy metal can be heard kind of groaning as it's opened. please enjoy your stay. And he allows them entry.
And they enter.
And so you guys are let in. There's only about 4 individuals really that you count as you walk in, are able to count. And as you kind of come into what looks to be kind of a converted out dining room that has kind of a desk in it. It has various things. You'll notice the area of the house is not exactly the most tidy. It's not necessarily dirty, but there are papers lying about that have some sensitive information on it. Nothing that seems to be too pressing at all. Is very. If you were to stop and take any, long discerning look at it, you would find it all very mundane and very below your notice. But when you come into this sort of office space, you see a man sitting there, and he actually is fairly well dressed. And he's kind of sitting, and he has a folder in hand, and when you all walk in, he closes it, sets it down, and he stands and walks to the front of his desk and looks at the two of you, crossing his arm and one leg over the other as he leans against the desk. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You can call me Satoshi. What is your name? He looks at the two of them. And he'll look.
I am Katsu, and this is Chow.
And he'll nod and look at Chow. Kind of rub his chin a bit. My compatriot down at the front door informed me that you were here for a very specific purpose.
Of course we are indeed.
I see. Would you care to fill me in on that purpose?
Of course. We work for a collector, and our employer has heard you have something he would very much pay a lot of money for.
And does this collector have a name?
Yes, his name is Mr. Xian.
I see. I find it interesting, and he is fully leaned back against his desk at this point, and he's just rubbing his chin with sort of a shit-eating grin on his face. I find it interesting that recently, all I've really been moving as of late, it's been a little bit of money here and there, a little bit of weapons here and there, nothing of all that, nothing noteworthy. Last week we did have a shipment of young women that came through here, and we're out of here just as quickly. But collectible items. Now, I find it interesting that you're interested in such things. Do you have any clue of why I might find it somewhat interesting that you're inquiring about them?
No, but I'm sure you're going to tell me, right?
As any good, as the Westerners say, as any good Bond villain would. I find it interesting because I've told no one that I have anything that is collectible. And yet, here you are at my doorstep asking me what it is that I have. And since I don't believe in coincidences, I'm now interested who actually sent you.
Well, rumors do get around whether you want them to or not. Your prowess and skill of your little company proceeded.
Well, this does pose a problem for me. Either you A, have contacts with somebody within my organization that is loose-lipped, in which case I need to make an example here and now. Or B, and far more distressing, but nonetheless entertaining, is that you are here for something by someone who misplaced it. Now, and he holds both hands up. It's one or the other. So, I'd like to know which one it is.
I can assure you I am doing only my job, and that is to ask on behalf of my employer. I am not told anything he knows. All I know is he wants something, and that's why I'm here.
He nods. And I'll ask you at this point to please make me a subterfuge roll. Manipulation subterfuge. And I do believe you have a merit that makes empathy rolls against you rather difficult, don't you? And you are muted, by the way.
Yes, I believe so.
Alright, so it's difficulty +2. It's difficulty 8 against 1 success. This could be interesting.
Hmm.
And he doesn't make it, so you actually seem like you're telling the truth. He looks somewhat bemused by this, actually. He was hoping that he would catch you in a lie, and you can see it plastered on his face. And thus he looks at Chow and then to Katsu. Well, I'm afraid you're going to have to tell your employer that my collectibles are not for sale. They already belong to other clients.
What a shame. He was willing to pay anything.
I don't believe he has the funds to make me want to part with these. I'm sure your employer has an absolutely ludicrous amount of money that he's willing to spend. But there are some things in this world, my dear, that just simply cannot be bought.
There would be no price you can consider, even just to humor him.
I'm afraid we're done here, he says very, very politely.
How many other people are in the room?
There's him, and there's currently 2 guards. Well, guards, but just 2 people.
Okay.
So
How far away are the guards from me?
it's a house, so they're not that far away from you at all.
Storyteller, while they were having this conversation, whenever the subject of collectibles came up, was this gentleman looking anywhere specifically that I might be able to ascertain where his house safe might be?
You're inside the house. Should have made a roll on that, but that's okay. That's no big deal. We'll go with it. You have a supernatural ability to hide, so we'll go with that. You don't see anything out here, or where they're at.
Okay.
What you actually, go ahead and make me a perception alertness roll, and I'll tell you what you do see, though.
Okay.
Okay, 2 successes. Okay. What you can see from where you are is you can actually see the window out to the partitioned part of the complex, and you can actually see you can kind of see the entry door into that garage that has the big shutter, otherwise closed. You can see one individual kind of resting in the frame of that door. He's kind of leaning back and not paying too much attention to what's going on. As for what's in the actual room that you're in, you see the desk. You see a few papers, and they're not very well collated. It looks like whoever's in charge of paperwork is either incompetent or lazy, perhaps both. And you notice that the 2 guards are actually standing on a slight bit of alert behind Xiao and Katsu.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I'm not going to say anything because that would definitely break my concealment, so I'm just kind of taking it in and waiting to see how the scene turns.
And I think we've all learned about talking to people that are otherwise hidden, right, Grant?
Right. I'm just looking for the roles here, because martial arts, certain actions are easier for me.
Not as much. That's why I came prepared with notes. Notes. How these guys are going to react.
Here it is.
Meanwhile, okay.
Ooh, grapple is at a 5. So, would you say that the guard is more than 5 feet from me? Or not 5, 20 feet?
No, he's probably at best 7 to 8 feet from you.
Okay. Katsu's going to turn around as if to look towards the exit, and then his hands are going to shoot out and grab one of the guards and
Make me a manipulation and subterfuge roll. See if you can't hide this. What you're getting ready to do. And you need to beat one success.
Okay. It is possible.
It is.
Let me double,
It certainly is.
let me double.
Because that's a pretty abysmal dice pool and an even more abysmal roll.
One, two. Two successes.
Okay. Go ahead. You get a basically a cheap shot on this guy.
Well, I was going
one of the
to.
guards. One of the guards. You have a cheap shot on one of the guards.
All right. I'm basically going to grab him and then throw him.
All right. And here we go.
That's Dex and martial arts.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's double check because I'm like that. Double checking is a thing. One, two, three, four successes.
All right. So you got him grappled.
Right.
And a grapple is a strength and brawl. You should be able to beat him on this. If you don't, I'm going to be disappointed in you, Grant, out of character.
Because I'm a martial artist, would it be strength and martial artist or martial arts?
Give you strength and martial arts, sure.
Okay, because
I don't think you took brawl, did you?
no, and it just seems a little how do you say because of all the skill you put into it, you think it would kind of include some of the brawl elements.
Go ahead and roll. And we'll see if you can't control this guy on this one free round. And the two of you, while we're waiting for Grant to roll, you see this happen. So if there's anything passively you'd like to start doing, you can do it now.
Six successes.
He doesn't have enough dice to counter that, so... you grabbed one of the guards. You literally grab this guy, and you throw him so hard that when his sort of upper body, his upper torso hits the desk, you hear this crack. You watch his shoulder literally kind of go flat up against his ribcage to the point where like the arm actually pops down about 6 inches away from where it shouldn't be. And at the same time, you kind of watch his head snap up against the upper edge of the desk itself, and his sort of his neck contorts into the direction closest to his opposite shoulder, and it doesn't stop where it should. It just kind of keeps going until quite literally he drops to the ground, and there is literally no sound out of him. And it all happens so quickly. I mean, it's literally in the blink of an eye. But you threw him with enough force that you kind of basically underneath the skin, sort of subdermally. You cracked his shoulder right out of socket, and you kind of broke his neck. And you just kind of hear this exasperated gasp from him, and you start to hear him like groaning, moaning, and then whimpering as he's attempting to try and move, and nothing below his neck is moving at all.
Passively, Vince, I will spend a point of Yang Chi to boost my dexterity by 1 point.
Okay. And our other bone flower is currently waiting for out of character circumstances to permit her to respond. So at this point, we're going to have a little inner monologue. Pate, you just witnessed this young, youthful-looking guy, maybe a high schooler, maybe just a little bit older, but you can tell that his life as he knew it is kind of done. If he survives that, he is probably going to be a quadriplegic for the rest of his life. How does that sit with you?
Well, he is leading a risky lifestyle, much as I did when I was a mortal, which led me to taking my second breath because I got into similar circumstances. So if he's made bad decisions that has led him here, should he survive, it would be an opportunity for him to perhaps receive guidance to right his life in the proper direction.
Cool. All right, and Aubrey, what are you going to do while all that was happening?
Oh,
Because you probably recognize shit's about to go down.
yeah. So what can I do?
You can do quite a few things. I know you picked a particular discipline that I have a certain affinity for.
Yeah, I did. I could use that. Could use Revolution Tie.
Maybe not a bad idea. Who's to say?
Mm-hmm. Mm. Well, how useful exactly would just one dot in that be, though?
Well, you could buff your strength if you wanted to with Blood Shintai, or you could activate Blood Shintai and basically reduce your soak difficulty. One of the beautiful things about Blood Shintai is it kind of lets you bloat yourself slightly with blood, more or less, and makes it a little bit easier to take damage.
She'll probably reduce her soak difficulty.
Alright. Can't remember if you need a roll on Blood Shintai 1 or not. I don't.
No, it's just expend a chi of either type.
Yep. So you can spend a Yin Chi or a Yang Chi, it's up to you.
Probably a yen.
Alright. So boom, your body basically kind of swells just a little bit. Your normally kind of streamlined neck kind of comes out a little bit more like a frog's, and your joints, like your shoulders, become a little bit more rounded. And you look like you're wearing some of those gaudy 80s blazers to a point. Your fingers might become just a little bit more padded. But in the end, you don't become ugly per se. just look a little. Maybe you ate some shrimp and you're allergic to shrimp. Who knows? Now it's just deciding to manifest at the worst possible time. If you were still alive, that is. Anyways, okay. So we are now rolling for initiative, ladies and gentlemen. And of course.
And yeah, Dex and Wits to that, right?
Yes, Dex and Wits to that. And then just use your counter to indicate your initiative order. And change the color if you have to. For some of you, it shouldn't be a problem. You guys can't see it, but I'm hiding my face right now. Because I have a high initiative order.
Yes, you do.
Very high in the initiative.
So considering I rolled a 1, I'm not complaining about my spot.
And Aubrey is at an 11. Okay. Normally we would declare first, but in the interest of time, we're going to do this fairly quickly. So, the gentleman to the back, who's standing just behind Chow, because he gets to go first, he is going to attempt to wrap an arm around her and grapple her from behind. So he does get an extra 2 dice on that. And of course, because he doesn't know the treat he's barking up, this could go very poorly for him. And it does. He gets 1 success to grapple you. So now we make our... are you going to attempt to dodge this, or are you just going to wait to try and get control of the grapple?
What she's probably going to do, I don't know what would be considered, because Bagua, is basically, it's an internal martial arts, but it is basically a dodging style martial arts where you basically, if someone attacks you, you dodge and turn that attack on them.
Okay. If you want,
like
you can roll.
Throwing and flipping and.
Yeah, you can roll your dex and whatchamacallit, dex in martial arts then.
Okay.
Alright, well, you have an equal on that, and since you are the defender, you kind of win, so he fails. He isn't able to, are you going to use that as an attack, though?
It's not an attack.
Yeah, so he just, the guy the young guy behind you kind of misses as he lunges for you. The other guy, this guy right here, is actually going to pull out what looks to be a Tonto, but it has no crossguard on it, obviously. It's more or less stylized as a blade or a dagger that you would be sort of put it in storage. But for some reason in popular culture today, these are somehow used as actual weapons, even though very bad idea with no crossguard. But anyways, he is going to attack you, Katsu, because you just literally kind of, basically the opposite of Christopher Walken, that poor boy. So, are you going to go full defensive, or...
Well,
are you just going to take it?
how would you feel about a deflecting blow? The martial artist, concentrating completely on defense, tries to prevent her opponent from doing any damage and throw him off balance in the process.
Hand to
While
hand or blunt force trauma, I would say certainly, but this is a blade. He is trying to cut you. So this would be kind of a dodge.
Yeah, it looks like I'll have to dodge. And
You can take it. You can, attempt to soak it if you want. It's up to you.
nah, we'll dodge.
Alright then. You roll your Dex Athletics. I'll roll my Dex and Brawl.
Wait. By making a successful Dex martial arts roll, the martial artist may not only inflict damage on her foe, but disarm him as well. The martial artist must score at least 3 successes to disarm the foe. With 5 successes, the martial artist may take the weapon for her own use. That's Withering Grasp.
I really need to read up on the martial arts roll. Okay. Well, we'll see whose rolls higher then.
Alright.
Alright, here we go. Frickin' ones. 1, 2 successes.
Two. Let me make a quick check on what the difficult. No, that won't matter because I don't know. Am I the defender? Or is he the defender?
You're the defender, so it goes to you.
All right.
You just kind of cancel it out because you didn't get enough to disarm him, as you stated.
Right. So looks like he misses, and I tried to trip him, but it doesn't work. But I can inflict damage with this grasp.
What is your damage that you roll?
I guess it would be
Just probably your straight up strength.
Right.
Have the companion accessible to me at the moment. I don't think the subnet has. Well, it might. Combat breakdown does not. Okay. All right then.
So strength +1 for the extra success?
Just strength.
Okay.
Because it was a dead heat. This guy's stamina is respectable, but not great. What do you know? He soaks too. Alright. I see 1, 2 successes on Pate's roll. Okay, Pate. As you are kind of, taking this all in, as the two of them are kind of doing their thing and doing it very well at the moment, you notice that one of the men in the house has heard the commotion and is actually kind of sort of stalking up the side of the wall, and you notice in his hand he actually has what looks to be a pistol.
Okay. How far away from me is he?
About 15 feet or so.
Okay. I will, because I'm still unobserved, I'm going to extend my index finger
Oh, you son of a bitch.
and plug the end of his pistol with my finger. Actually, is it a big gun or a little gun? Maybe I should use my pinky.
It's just a 9mm, so
So
yeah.
my pinky then?
For a 9mm? Yeah, just your pinky. You know that's gonna hurt, right?
Yeah, but I'm protecting my family.
There you go.
So
All
yeah,
right.
I'll extend my pinky finger and shove it in the barrel of the gun.
Okay. All right then. So we're up in the next round of the initiative order. So Katsu, you were next. I know you already expended your action, and so did Aubrey. So, hey, you do that little thing, and then he's going to fire his gun with a kind of abysmal, but damn if he doesn't succeed. So that is 8 damage you're going to have to take. But as per rules, because you are undead, that is bashing damage, not lethal.
Okay.
So
And it's directly to my pinky.
So if you don't
And
soak any of this, you're losing that pinky.
oh, even if I soak it, aren't I going to lose some of this pinky?
You're probably going to lose some of the meat off of it,
And,
at the very least.
yeah, I'm pretty sure the pinky's going to be gone.
One success. There was only 3, so it rounds down. Actually, you managed to soak it. Believe it or not.
So what happens to his gun when my pinky stops a bullet from coming out?
Well, I'm going to roll something for him. He's going to take some damage. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, yeah, you killed him. Oh, my God. The blowback of the gun actually causes the slide to literally snap back, and the powder actually ignites some of the other rounds that have yet to be chambered. And so essentially what you have is this projectile at chest level that basically comes off and ramps off the back of the gun with such force that it literally, you kind of see, you can't really see it happens way too fast, but when your hand comes away, the barrel kind of pops off to the ground and hits the ground kind of with a thunk, and you don't see the top of the slide anymore. You just kind of see this kind of like concave void or kind of hole in the guy's chest, sort of just right at the sternum. And he just kind of, his eyes just kind of are wide with shock, and he's just like trembling before he finally just kind of like just crumples forward. And when he hits the ground, I mean, blood just starts literally just pooling about him rather quickly.
So that's probably going to get enough attention. I should make a stealth roll.
Now, you broken stealth at this point. The two guys are like, oh, where did he come from? And I'm just going to quickly roll a d4 to see how quickly backup will get here. Alright, so you guys have 2 turns before people make it up there. Alright, so everybody hears this, and then you see Pate coming out of this sort of cloak with a fairly black pinky. Pate, your finger hurts a little bit. It throbs and it tingles. But other than that, it's just right as rain. And 2 guys, a guy with a Tonto is going to go back for Katsu. does a little bit better this time. 1, 2, 3. So Katsu, are you going to take it or are you going to dodge it again?
Withering Grasp.
So make your roll.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
God damn it. Alright. So you do damage back on him. Or no, you disarm him.
I disarm him and I do damage.
Alright. I got his soak up. Go for it.
Okay.
Whatever you damage him with, he only soaks one of it.
No damage.
Oh, okay. So you don't manage to damage him.
But I am basically now holding his Tonto for him.
Yes, you are. Which he seems to be somewhat alarmed by this. And Chow, gentleman to your right, is going to you kind of turned around on him, and he's going to kind of draw out what looks to be more like looks like one of those knives you might buy at a store. It's not very fancy. It doesn't look like it's all that high quality. It kind of looks like maybe a shaped, glorified kitchen knife. But he is going to attack you, and if you wish to go full defensive, you can, or you can try and soak it like a boss and have your action.
Probably gonna just try and dodge it.
Okay, so you're gonna go full defensive then. All right then. 1, 2, 3. So roll your dex plus athletics. Do you know?
Nope.
Okay.
How much did you lose by? Just wondering.
I don't think she got any successes. I see some ones there.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wait. And so it's not a fail. Or it's
No,
not
it's
a
not a botch. You can't botch unless you have no successes.
Yeah,
So,
I couldn't spend to at least get one success, but
Yeah.
That is 1 lethal.
right.
Don't forget about your reduced soak difficulty. I think with Iron Mountain and with Bludgeon Tie, you're at difficulty 4 to soak.
Okay.
You're gonna make this guy look pretty foolish. I imagine.
Yeah.
All right, and what is it? What do I roll to soak?
Just your stamina, straight up stamina.
Straight up stamina. Oh.
Oh yeah, you make him look foolish as his blade he tries to poke you with it, kind of stab you, and it hits you just kind of like right under the breast, he's like trying to shank you in from underneath the rib cage, so you go for a vital organ. But it just kind of hits your flesh, and it just your flesh bows in, and then will go no further, almost like pressing your hand up against a cargo net or something like that that's fairly taut. And
At this point,
he just kind of stops and looks at the blade and looks up at you with a bewildered look.
You attack an unarmed woman with a cheap weapon. Have you no honor? Are you not man enough to fight without weapon?
He has no response. Alright, Pate, you are now completely free to do what you want. For somebody who was at the bottom of the initiative order, you're doing pretty well with yourself about having your way with these people.
Alright, so both of my partners here are engaged in combat.
Yep.
but there doesn't seem to be anybody else approaching, at least not immediately.
Not yet.
Okay. I'm going to quickly check on that first guy that got thrown up against the wall to see whether he is actually dead or if he is pulling through.
He's alive, but he's paralyzed.
Okay. And that's pretty much all I can do in one round is just to check on him, eh? Especially since I have like no medical checking, no medical training, so.
Well, I mean, if you just want to look at the guy, I
Okay.
can give you that as passive. But if you want to get any kind of discerning stuff about it, you're going to have to roll for that, which will take your turn. But at the moment, he's not moving.
All right.
You can tell from just glancing.
Oh.
He's kind of laying in an awkward angle, so it doesn't look comfortable.
Who can I help? You know what? I'm going to try to tackle the.
You're going to tackle who?
The one that's fighting Katsu.
Okay.
Because if one of these guys is going to survive to be able to answer our questions, it should probably be him.
Okay. Well, make your roll, sir. Because he can do nothing, so yeah, he's getting tackled as long as you don't fail a botch.
Alright, and strength and brawl. Well, doesn't that suck?
Oh, God. Say it ain't so, guys. Say it ain't so.
It wasn't a botch.
It wasn't a botch, but still. Okay. Well, back up to the top of the round. So, let's see. We're going to go and start with the one attacking Chow. And she says, "Do you have no honor?" It takes him a moment to gather himself. And he's going for a called shot on her neck. Actually, no, that's not what he's going to do. He's going to go into full shank mode and do the whole... he's going to split his actions, completely split his dice pool, and he's going to literally try and stab her over and over and over again.
Oh.
But as these are one dice rolls, and if he botches, well, he botches. So he's actually going to kind of press himself up against Chow and kind of try to force her back against the wall as he just starts going prison-style shanking, which he's only probably seen on TV. So first one is a fail. Second one is a hit. So that's 3 plus 2. Alright. Roll me your stamina. Chow.
Do I have to roll for a kick in the nuts if I wanted to do that?
Well, if you want to go for a full defensive, you can. So, yeah, if you want to go ahead, go for it. I mean, just...
I think that might be my best
That will be an attack, but it will be after he goes for the full stab, stab, stab.
Yeah.
Alright. Roll for the next one. Next one's a hit. A little bit better, an additional 3. Go ahead and roll your soak, because the last one didn't go through.
Wait, difficulty was lowered. So difficulty 4?
Yeah.
You said 1.
Alright, so you take 2 lethal on that, so he actually manages to catch you with that one. So as you're kind of being forced up against the wall, you feel the blade finally kind of go up into your, just below your ribcage, actually dive in, kind of, and into those lungs, and you feel it, and it bites, it stings, and it's withdrawn just as quickly as it was slammed in. And your dress is now kind of foobar.
Hmm.
And the last one was a hit. Not so great on the damage rolls, though.
Yeah.
So, yep, there you go.
Soak. Oh, shit.
You can't botch a soak roll. Can't
Oh,
botch
well,
a diamond or a soak roll, but you take 2
okay.
more lethal, which puts you at puts you at 4 health levels down. So again, so the first 2 he doesn't do all that well with. He's just, the first one misses completely as he goes wildly. The second one hits you and just stops. And then the other 2, he finally hits you twice in quick succession, pretty much in the same spot. And he's kind of got you up against the back of the wall, and he's, kind of shanked you twice at this point. And at -2, I think, or you're at -2 right now, so you are injured.
I kick him in the nuts now.
Well, we gotta wait to see what happens to our good friend Katsu or Pate.
Okay.
So Pate, you came a running. He is going to try and just literally punch Pate right in the face. He's actually better at this than he is with the knife. And it shows. 1, 2, 3. Are you going to try and dodge, or are you just going to soak it? Because it is bashing.
Am I able to dodge if I tried tackling him? Well, I guess that would be... This is a different round, right?
Yeah, it's a different round. So
yes, I will. I will attempt to dodge.
All right, then roll your dex and athletics.
Okay.
Jesus.
Do I get to re-roll the 10 for quick reflexes, or?
No, 10s would count as 2. So that's a lot more successes than he has. So you he tries to hit you, and you know what? That's enough successes. You can embellish that all you want. What does Pate do when this guy swings at him?
You know what? I will just because it's freaky. I'm just using Flesh Shintai. I'm just gonna roll my head way to the side as he punches where my head used to be.
So you're kind of doing that whole contortionist grudge sort of thing.
Yeah.
That's what you might hear from him as you suddenly realize that he realizes he is way outclassed at the moment. And, alright. Our dear friend Katsu, the guy that just swung at Pate, somebody you've gotten to know quite a bit, is now wide open.
Well, I'm going to grapple him and try putting him in a chokehold.
You know what? Yeah, go ahead.
you know, try
He
and.
can't dodge you. He can only do his dex and strength. Or I'm sorry, strength and brawl.
So, 6 dice at 5. Ooh, this might be fun.
Yeah, you say that now, and then you see the ones, the potential ones.
This is true. Three successes.
All right, you got him. So we're gonna roll our strength and brawl. You only gotta beat. You gotta make 3.
Okay.
And you get 3. So yeah, you got this guy in a chokehold, and a really good one at that. All right, so essentially, Katsu has rear naked choked this guy with a very fluid motion, and currently has him on the floor where he's kind of gagging and trying to tap past the tail. And then we come back to our dear friend Chow, who has a Tonto directly inside of her at the moment.
She is going to attempt to kick him in the nuts.
All right, go for it.
He has nuts. And what would that be?
It's just Dex and Brawl with a call shot, so it's difficult to beat. Yeah, wrong app.
Standard difficulty, or?
It'd be difficulty 8.
I see 2.
So it'd be your strength plus 1 for the damage.
Strength +1, you said?
Yep, because you manage it, because a brawl attack is just your straight up strength, but because you have the extra success, adds a dice. And he manages to soak it, so you do manage to get your knee right up into his crotch.
Alright.
But he's gonna kind of clamp his legs down on around yours. And at this point, he's going to look back over his shoulder at the group of you, and he's going to pull the blade up, and he's going to hold it to Chow's neck. And Chow, this is actually somewhat disconcerting. I'm not going to say that you're anywhere close to being freaked out, but you know that he already has done a fair bit of damage to you, and where he's got the blade at this point, a fairly tenuous place to have it.
Mm-hmm.
But he's going to shout, "You stop! Both of you stop and you let him go, or I'll slit her throat."
I guess I'll let him out of the chokehold then. But I'll still keep him. I'll still keep a hold of him around the shoulders.
The man will stand up and he'll pull away from you. You're going to try and keep him from doing so?
Yep.
And he looks back at you, and then he'll look to the young man who's got a hold of Chow. And he says, "If he does not let me go, slit her throat, cut her head right off. Now release me, he says to Katsu.
I'll let him go with a little push.
And the young man will work his way behind Chow and attempt to hold her hostage so they can back out of the room.
Is there a door?
Hmm?
Is there a door?
Yeah, there's a door. There's
All
a
right.
guy laying dead at that door that has a hole in his chest.
All right. Before they can get to it, how many feet away is the door?
It's not far, but basically the way the room was set up is you guys were kind of up by the desk. You and Pate were up by the desk, and this guy was there. When this other younger guy kind of pushed Chow back, he pushed her up against that adjacent wall. So they're kind of in the door frame. I think I know what you're trying to do, and it's just not doable.
But they should be close enough if I, using flesh Shentai to extend my arms, punch the guy right in the face that's holding the blade to her neck. Should be able to give her an opening to break free.
Yeah, technically you could do that. I don't see why you couldn't.
I like how you start that with technically.
Never let your players be certain of anything, I'm afraid.
Alright, Dex Brawl.
Flesh Sentai, that first power is a scene, correct?
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Oh, that's not cool. One success?
Alright. Now you're going to catch him off guard, so he's only going to be able to soak this. Which could end up very bad for our dear friend Chow.
What? She's not gonna break free?
Well, you gotta roll your damage first, so roll your strength.
Alright. Yeah, punch is just straight strength, right?
Just straight.
Stabbed in the neck.
So you did 1 damage, he soaks it. And he kind of puts his hand underneath of Chow's chin and is kind of wrenching it upwards as Chow, you kind of feel the blade kind of moving and pressing up against your neck, and you feel that slight heat of a cut, so to speak, but it stops just short of that as the blade falls out of his hand, and you can just kind of hear him gurgling, and he's kind of just whipped back. I mean, literally ripped away from you. It's so rough, actually. I need you to soak about 3 bashing damage.
Fuck.
As you're kind of thrown against a wall.
3 bashing isn't too bad with all your...
Yeah,
Also, doesn't it get rounded down?
it does get rounded down, so it's really 1, and I think you soak that like a boss, like a champ. So yeah, you just kind of get thrown. But describe the scene that happens from the point that you feel your neck being lifted up.
As she felt her neck being lifted up, for a split moment, memories flooded back up to her past before her second breath, before she even went to Yoni. And it sent a small shiver down her spine. She doesn't often show fear, but if you looked closely for a split second, you could see it in her eyes that she was worried about her own safety.
And in that moment, you then kind of feeling this guy jerked away, and then you kind of you kind of hit the wall kind of hard and are thrown to the ground. At that point, you can't really see what's going on because the other room, for some reason, seems to be dark. But you see, basically, this guy being dragged back towards this darkness. And the other gentleman is kind of standing there with his arms kind of out and knees bent and looking between the darkness. Then back to the lady who's still standing after being stabbed twice in the chest, and the guys that have literally beat the shit out of him.
Well, with that, I'm going to send my arms out, grab him, and in a grapple and pull him back while I'm saying, "Where is the item?"
Alright, go ahead and make me a Dex plus Brawl roll.
Or martial arts.
Or martial art. Same difference.
Ooh, not so good this time, but 2.
Nope. That's a whole lot of nope.
Okay.
So he wrestles free of you, and he's really weighing his options. Like, he looks up to Chow and then looks at her feet, or looks kind of down at her. She's kind of crumpled on the ground, but Chow, you notice kind of laying right in front of you is that shitty blade.
I'm going to pick up the blade.
Yeah, because he's eyeballing it.
I am going to pick up the blade.
Now he doesn't know quite what to do. And it's in that moment there is a look of abject terror in his eyes as he just kind of stops, like, cold. And he looks down at himself and... you guys want to make me a perception and alertness roll. Ooh. I got Chow with 3. I have Pate with 2.
3.
And 3. Okay, so everybody who got 3, you kind of noticed that in an instant, when just before he went rigid, you just kind of noticed this sort of this dark, glowing mass. It was very quick. It was almost like if someone had taken a red ribbon and just passed it through him. Pate, you'll kind of notice that he's sort of bleeding from about the navel slightly. It takes a moment, but you can actually see like this red line sort of start forming in his clothing.
Is there any kind of... Would I be able to make like intelligence occult or perception occult to try to figure out what caused that? Because that seems to be not natural.
Yeah, if you guys want to roll perception and occult, if you've got it, go ahead and roll it.
I'm just going to double check, but I'm going to think no.
Nope.
I think I see 3 successes on.
It's +1, -2 difficulty if it's about kindred, +1 difficulty if it's about anything else.
Well, with 3 successes, you've never seen it before, but you've heard about it. You've probably heard about it talked. It's probably been talked about before you, but you know that at higher levels of certain Shintais, that there are some pretty nasty customers when it comes to what they can do. Those that have mastered blood Shintai to a certain point know that you've heard they can actually turn their blood into a weapon, much like a whip. And you're kind of watching him as he stands still, and then literally his front end just kind of falls over and his legs fall in the opposite direction, as he's literally been cleaved in half from the waist. And he just falls to the ground, and as he hits, you hear that sickening sound of somebody like taking a very wet blanket and dropping it onto a concrete floor.
And we don't see the source of this attack, do we?
No, it is shrouded in shrouded in the darkness of the room that is far off and away. At least it looks that way.
It seems we are not alone.
How far? Chow's kind of in the doorway, right? Or is she a little to the side?
Yeah, she's kind of through the doorway at this point in the hallway.
Oh.
I'm going to kind of back away from the door just a little bit because I don't really know what.
Yeah, I was going to say, can I grab her and pull her back towards us?
If you really want to, sure. I don't think she's going to resist you, is she?
No, but she's already like moving the fuck out the way as soon as that happens.
Yeah. So what? Do I just roll my strength to see how fast I pull her back?
No, you don't have to do any of that because you kind of hear the sound of crunching and tearing and sort of slurping.
Ooh.
Coming from what direction?
From the darkness.
Yeah. I was like not being anywhere near that door at this point.
I'm going to guess since Chow, or is it Chow?
I mean, you would probably pronounce it like that. Anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Since she didn't get cleaved in half, I'm going to voice. Maybe it is a friendly Guijin who was sent to make sure we didn't get over our heads.
Perhaps it would make sense.
Maybe while they are having their little, I'm going to assume, feast, we should look for the item.
And where would you suggest we start?
I'm going to be pulling out of this room as well, because something really hungry and badass is hiding in darkness that we can't see. So I'm not going to be within reach. So I am
Nope.
cautiously remove myself from the room. And hearing you guys discussing, I will say the garage in the backyard seems to be reinforced and guarded. That could be where personal stuff is being hidden.
Okay. I just have a interesting question. Is there any way out of this room except through the hallway?
Kind of a small window, but there's a window. Shao could probably fit through it fairly easily.
Your little hard though with my injury, probably.
Of course, you can spend yang chi to heal your wound.
Yeah, might as well do that.
But I know you don't have an abundance of yang chi to
No, I
spend.
don't. I don't. I don't know if I want to do that.
Well, there.
And while you all are deciding, you see this blood tendril kind of snake across the ground from the door frames right there, and then like the body's kind of laying a little bit to the far side where Chow kind of fell before she came back into the room, and you see this tendril blood, and it's actually fairly large, kind of snake towards the body, and then just literally wraps around its sort of arm and begins to drag it away slowly, making a rather nasty sound as it's dragged across the floor.
We can't leave that here. We have to. It's either Akuma or Chime because it's not feeding in an honorable manner.
Mm-mm.
And yes, you guys hear more of the crunching and the more of the ugliness going on there in the other room.
Is this something that you agree that we are up to task on, or is this a threat that would be more important to warn the court about its presence?
Mm-mm. If it seemed like a simple Shima, I think we could kill, or we could handle it. But given it seems a bit more skilled than a normal falling. Yeah, Shima. Or freshly risen.
Then you agree we should warn the court of this Akuma's presence and have a united effort in finding it?
Right.
For if it sends all of us to even the little death, if not final death, we would have no way to warn anybody, and they may not understand why we did not come back from here.
Right.
As you all are sort of speaking, Chow, how close are you to the door?
Not. She moved. She moved away.
I'm just asking you approximate distance.
Probably moved herself behind the two gentlemen.
Okay.
And I'm probably the closest to the doorway because I was the last one to leave the room.
All right, you're gonna kind of hear this, just this shallow breathing just outside the door, and you kind of see this little bit of cloud of like breath vapor, just kind of exhaling from the side of the door, almost like someone's posted up against it, and you just kind of hear this slight chuckle on the other side. You're presuming an awful lot there. Little running monkeys. Presuming a great deal.
So, is the door closed, or can we see this thing? Or
closed. It's just staying out of sight on the other side of the door, because I don't think any of you guys are going to get close enough to investigate, are you?
No.
No, I'm going to kind of put my arms out with my companions behind me and start trying to back away and look over my shoulder at them and say, we need to go and report this.
Right.
And you hear more chuckles on the other side. Tell me, has Kisarage's tea gotten any better?
Mm,
I am sure it is better than your new lords.
Again, you presume quite a bit. I would even go as far as to say you're being rather rude.
One could say that, but that wouldn't make one correct.
uh,
And I'm still backing.
Katsu's gonna whisper, either we get through the window or we have to try and placate him. I wouldn't try and antagonize him. Or, does it sound like a him or a her? Or does it really just seem like an it at this point? Asking the ST. Can you hear me? I said, does the creature sound like an it, a him, or a she?
Sounds kind of like a youthful he.
Okay. I was going to say, uh, we are in a not in a good position to get out of here, and it would take too long to get through the door. Maybe we shouldn't try and antagonize it and try talking to it. Maybe he isn't what we think he is.
So we're backing towards the window, or
Yeah, there's a window there, and like I said, it's big enough that Chow could probably fit through it.
okay.
You guys, it would take some doing, but she could definitely fit through.
We could also just send part of our limbs through at a time until we could just slurp all of ourselves through.
Well, if you had that level of flesh in tie, sure.
Yeah, long neck's not good enough.
Not to detach, no.
Does it look like it's coming out of the room at all?
Actually, it's funny you should say that, because it actually turns the corner. And what you guys behold is somebody who looks to be barely older than a teenager. Maybe 17, 18 at best. Somebody who would likely have the youthful appearance flaw, perhaps. You see white hair kind of hanging over this glowing eye. Perhaps another flaw. And sort of wearing this odd mask over his face as he kind of looks at the group of you. And there is this long red tendril sort of snuck out of his sleeve of this sort of leather coat he's wearing, and his entire front of him is just covered in blood.
Upon seeing him, Xiao would kind of step out from behind. She's going to be cordial. We do apologize. We mean you no disrespect. She'll bow. Still keeping eye contact with it.
He'll walk up towards Chow. Very directly. And the tendril itself seems to be behaving. It's sort of just kind of writhing and sort of wriggling it at his side. But he sort of uses the free hand, or the one that doesn't have, this grotesque weapon hanging from it. It just kind of very lifts, or he attempts to gingerly, actually, gently, lift her chin so he can inspect the small cut on the side of her neck.
She doesn't try to get away or do anything. She just allows him to do what he's doing.
With the mask on, you can't see whether he's smirking or preparing, to bite, potentially, if he can remove the mask quickly. But he sort of just stands there and then runs a thumb over the wound, and then takes the thumb, places it underneath his mask where you can kind of hear him lick his chops.
I'm anticipating this not going well. I'm not sure if my companions feel the same way, and I'm hoping that this isn't me going to end up being an act of blindness, but I'm going to spend 3 points of demon chi to activate my demon shintai, because this guy's going to screw us over fast, and I want to be in combat mode.
Okay. Alright.
It takes 3 rounds for the transformation, but...
Well, since we're not in combat, a round is actually about 10 seconds or less, so it's going to take about 30 seconds. And he doesn't seem to be too pressed about doing anything at the moment.
Okay. I'm not attacking, but I am going to shift into that form.
At the moment, you have claws, I believe, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I gotta roll for Shadow Soul, don't I? For activating,
Yeah, you do.
Okay.
That's a difficult.
What do you want me to roll? What do you want me to roll first, my Po or my Hun?
Roll your Po, and difficulty 8, however, you can spend a willpower point as with any of these checks. But I don't think you needed it. So yeah, you managed to resist your Po.
Okay. I don't have to make the Hun roll?
I forget the mechanic on that one. Refresh my memory.
I think there are opposed rolls.
Looking at the Po roll, I think for spending Demon Chi, it's just rolling to resist your Shadow Soul with your Po.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you're fine.
All right.
As he sees you doing this, he's going to be a little bit more familiar with Chow and very gently coax her to turn her back on him so he can actually stand directly behind her. Again, not being overly threatening, he's not looking like he has any inkling of harming her. But he has one arm kind of, if she does turn around, one arm draped over her shoulder and pointing back at Pate.
She won't resist him.
He'll smirk and just kind of whisper along the side of her ear, loud enough that they can all hear, but you see, this is the problem with youth today. Always so quick to react, so quick to judge.
Very true.
You are entertaining. This one here is... I pity this poor creature. He looks over at Katsu. And you, well, I'm afraid I have no opinion of you. And as he says that, the the tendrils begins to retract up into the sleeve of his jacket until it's not there. And both hands will very gently rest on her shoulders. Now, I think all of you have some cleaning up to do, but you're welcome all the same. And he literally turns on a heel, stepping back from Shao, and just walks out of the room. And you can hear his footsteps kind of in the hall, and go back out seemingly the way that they came, the way that you guys came in. And in the end, everything is silent after that.
Well, Katsu is going to look over at this demonic form. What does he see?
It's the left-hand image on my picture there. It's my Demon
Okay.
Shintai form.
Oh, some sort of half human, half spider thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it kind of looks a little slightly biomechanical as well.
He's going to look you up and down. Well, impressive. Although, as I said, he seemed to be able to kill us at any time. I think if he wanted to actually hurt Chow, he would have done it when she was closer to that thing, or the person that got split in half. And, oh, by the way, I wanted to say internally, in the monologue, when he says, of you, I have no opinion of you at the moment, I think to myself, well, at least no news is good news.
Tay will reply, perhaps, or perhaps he didn't expect us to be so ready to defend her.
Maybe.
We will probably never know whether he didn't care and left, or if he was intimidated and we left. But it's inconsequential. Either way, we are still alive. Let's see if we can find this jade item.
Yes. I think he was testing to see how we react. Or to see how you would react.
By the way, Katsu is now going to turn around and look at the guy he brutally slammed on that desk. How's he looking?
He's alive, but he ain't happy. He's kind of just like whimpering and sobbing, and he can't really turn his head to look up at you, but he's kind of like muttering and crying and just lamenting the fact that he's like constantly saying, I'm never going to walk again, I'm never going to do anything again, I never even got to know the love of a good woman.
Well, Katsu is going to get within his range of vision and frown softly. Well, the love of a bad woman is like pizza. At least it tastes like pizza. Anyway, I was wondering if you could do me a favor and tell me where you guys keep the items you've collected.
If he could look up at you and give you a look, he would. He just starts screaming at you and screaming profanities in an almost artistic manner, the way he speaks it. Every curse just flows together better than the last, and it is clear to see that the hate in his voice runs deep, and it is literally stringing everything together. It's like a finely tuned chain, or links of chain between large stones. It's being cast your way verbally.
Vince, the two people he did attack, does it appear that he just feasted on their blood, or did he actually eat their flesh as well, from what the sounds were?
Have you gone out and checked yet?
Yeah, I'll stalk into the room and look over the bodies.
They're pretty decimated.
Okay.
You can't really tell if they've been... I mean, you don't have enough medicine to really tell if they've been chewed on, eaten on. They're just kind of ripped apart. It's, you know, they're in bits and pieces, and there's large chunks missing out of most of the bodies. It's a pretty ghoulish scene.
Okay.
Alright. Vinny, if I channeled a bit of my chi, the red chi, into some of that liquor, as they called it, and gave it to the guy, you think it would be enough to at least put maybe his back in place, and maybe give him some motion?
Probably not. No. He made his choice in life, and he's paying for it now.
Mm.
On that note, yeah, I was just gonna kind of walk over to him and just look at him, maybe run her fingers through his hair. You must be in terrible pain. Yes.
I don't feel anything.
Oh. Oh, not physical pain, but emotional pain. You know why this happened to you?
He's gonna start going on about foreigners now, as he's really angry at this condescending tone.
No offense, man. Don't worry, but everything happened in life because of one thing. Our past karma. And when you do wrong in your past life, the karma in this life affects you in this life. You see, everything is connected. And this little issue you have is because of all the bad things you've done in your past lives. The compassionate thing would be to put you out of your misery. Would you like that?
So he's just kind of lying there, like, doesn't really have much to say beyond that. He's kind of at a loss. He's a paraplegic.
Katz is going to put his hand on her on hers and go, no, killing him would not clear his karmic debt.
Oh, I didn't say it would. But it'd be great compassion for us to grant his wish of end of suffering. If that is, he tells us what we want to know.
And again, he literally has nothing to gain or nothing to lose at this point. He does not have any inkling of the sense of release that death can give, and he actually probably fears it more so than you two, even though you two are clearly wrong in every sense of the word.
I'll I'll look over towards them, and I'll say, "Don't worry. At least once his breath gives out, we'll still be able to bind his soul, and eventually his ghost will tell us what we want to know."
And you want to roll me a manipulation and intimidation?
Sure. Oh, I do have intimidation.
I was going to say you
Excellent.
should at least get. Oh, good.
Okay, so you guys notice that he kind of like grits his teeth as he finally just closes his eyes very tightly, and you'll notice that his mouth is kind of moving with his lips kind of like sealed. And what was your roll, Jake?
Oh, I had 4 successes.
Yeah. I'm gonna roll this really minuscule courage roll. And he botches it. He literally just starts just screaming your name babble at this point. He is terrified to the point where he is hysterical. And if he were able to move his arms or his legs, I mean, they would be flailing, but obviously they're just kind of laying there as dead weight. And he's being rather loud.
Is there a way I have the merit commanding voice? Is there any way I could use that to calm him down? So he's going to shut up?
I don't think he's gonna. I don't think he's got anything.
He botched that roll. I mean, he's literally out of his mind with fear at the moment.
Let's see
And
here.
again, he's being very, very loud.
Hey, as a martial artist with 2 dots in medicine, do you think I could put not so much knock him out, but maybe not to worsen his state, but maybe apply pressure that he can pass out?
Probably not, no. I'm sorry to say. Even at 2 dots, you're just kind of able to understand triage. What's really wrong with him would probably require at least 4. I mean, his neck is completely fucked.
We need to end his suffering.
Yes, that would be wise.
So which one of you guys is gonna do it? That's the
Well,
question.
yeah, has the knife.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. You probably. Because I want to find the quickest way possible with the least amount of suffering. And I think if she stabbed him in the throat, he would probably just suffocate on his own blood.
How much medicine do you have?
None.
None?
I was
Does
going to say,
does Katsu do anything to try to put him out?
well, I was going to turn to Chow, because she seems pretty hurt, and go, You could use the man's life essence to heal yourself and at least give his life, his death meaning to preserve your own.
Wonderful idea. And she will go with that.
Alright. Are you going to roll your Poe to use your fangs? Call upon the Poe, so to speak?
She could. Is there another way she could?
You could easily just cut his throat and just start lapping it up. I mean, it's not exactly the most graceful manner in which to do it, but it definitely works.
I guess she'll call upon her Poe and not the fangy fangs.
Okay.
We'll roll that. Is it standard difficulty or?
Just double checking here, but yeah, it's standard difficulty, I think.
Okay. That's right. Alright. Let's do this.
Okay. So yeah, your fangs come out.
Alright. And she's just going to very gently, not aggressively whatsoever, let her hand attempt to hold his face kind of, or his mouth still from screaming.
Mm-hmm.
And she's going to sink her fangs into his throat.
He screams wildly into your hand, and he might even bite you, but not nearly enough to hurt you. I mean, you still got the blood thing going on, so I'm not gonna bother with that.
Does covering his mouth muffle it at all?
Oh yeah, it's more of the sort of sound. But yeah, if you want, you can drain him dry.
What will that do to me? Will that have any negative effects?
Well, we don't have humanity.
No, you don't. It's kind of up in the air. I just need to know if you're going to do it or not.
She's not going to drain him completely dry, probably enough just to put him unconscious.
Right. And he'll just kind of go a little bit limp. And yeah, actually, you know, that you really wouldn't suffer for that. There's nothing really that comes on as an act of blindness for that.
Yeah. She won't. She'll just put him unconscious and then pull away.
Okay, because you could, if you want, you can actually just do it.
Yeah. I have something better in mind. Now, who would like to finish him off? I do not kill the helpless.
I require sustenance.
Alright. Tay, you want to finish it off?
Yeah.
Because, alright. Go for it.
She's already got the bite mark, so I just have to drink.
And you just drink until there's nothing left?
Yeah, I guess so.
Alright.
How much chi was left in him?
Let's see. He had I'm gonna say about 5. There was a
Okay.
fair bit of chi left in him, yeah. She could
Yeah,
only
but-
take so much yang chi.
Pardon?
Sorry, she can only take so much yang chi from him. He's still actually quite alive. He's not recently deceased.
Yeah, but well, I guess his emotional state, he might have a lot of yang chi, but a normal living person has equal amounts of each.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, even then, I don't think you didn't really spend any yin chi or that much chi, did you?
I spent 1 yen.
Yeah, so you could only take really 1 in. I mean, you could overgorge yourself, but that's probably not the smart thing to do.
I was going to say you could have to put him at unconscious. It would take 2 points, right?
Wouldn't take
Because
much.
he's already wounded.
Yeah, he's already pretty much dead.
I was going to say, considering your stomach wounds, you could spend another point and heal that up more, and then take in the chi without going over.
Yeah, actually, you could do that.
Yeah. Very true. Yeah, okay.
Alright.
I might not break the system, but I know the system.
Well, that's good. Alright, so, yeah, you can heal it up, a 1 for 1, so, yeah, I mean, 5 points of yang chi and 5 points of yin chi in him, you could easily heal up the 4 health levels you lost.
Okay, then yeah, she's gonna heal herself.
Right. At that point, he will be out cold, and, Pate, you can have what's left. There's at least 1 point of yang and then 5 points of yin left.
Okay, so I spent 1 yang and 1 yen, so I can top myself off there. And we're still looking around this place, right?
Yep. So he's gonna die. He's gonna bleed to death. He's
Well, I was
flat.
gonna say then I'll just transfer more chi into my dexterity, so I'm at least not wasting the energy.
Okay. Yeah, still can only raise it up by 1. So
That's true, and you already did
yeah.
that.
Okay, yeah, because I'm limited by how many levels. Okay, that's right. So yeah, I guess he'll just bleed out then.
All right.
Once
But
I taught myself.
he's quiet. He's quiet. He's very quiet. All right. So as you guys come out of the room, which I'm assuming you're going to do.
Yeah. By the way, does his eyes naturally close?
No.
All right. Tetsu's going to close his eyes as a final gesture of respect and maybe slight remorse of maybe overdoing it a bit.
Okay.
Anyway,
So
we-
you guys look around, and when you guys come out of the office, you see the mess left behind by the mysterious white-haired stranger.
Hmm.
And it's rather extensive. It's rather gruesome. All the light fixtures have been pretty much cut in half so they can't be used. That's why it was so damn dark. Except in that one corridor that you guys were in.
the bodies.
Are
By the way-
everywhere.
I'm gonna roll my Hun to look at them a bit more closely.
Oh,
I
with
don't
light
have.
effect?
No, the heightened senses.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do I roll? Just straight hun?
So
Ah,
he killed everybody that was here.
You see about two guys laying in the other room. One of them literally has, I mean, they're all pretty much torn apart. But as you come out into like the living room area, you can see two guys kind of flayed apart. You can see the two guys that he killed and kind of dragged away. You see by the gate, you see one guy kind of, I don't know how to really. He's kind of been turned into a Pez dispenser, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
And then you see like kind of like finger marks in the yard going around the back towards the other area, where someone was kind of marks, and then you don't see anything because it's around the corner. So it's up to you whether you guys go that way or not.
What are even
Alright,
the odds this guy left without taking the same item we're looking for?
Well, I guess you're gonna have to find out, aren't you?
yeah. Anyway, these bodies I see. Do of the bodies that are there, can I pretty much tell if all the bits and pieces are there, or does it look like our friend may have left with some of it in his stomach?
Well, go ahead and roll perception and medicine.
One, two successes.
It's quite in the realm of possibility.
Ooh.
Because there's not an equal, there's a disproportionate mass of what's there to what should be there.
Ooh.
But then again, you know, there's body parts everywhere.
He's going to turn to can't think of it right now. Patea?
Pate?
Pate. Sorry. And go. From what I can tell, there is a fair chance he may be a flesh eater, like you said. But then again, it's such a mess that he could have just been a devil tiger, and in the throes of really liking to hurt people, just rip them apart limb from limb. So,
Well, my understanding of Dharma is that that kind of senseless violence is actually almost contrary to what they speak. But I wouldn't know specifically, so I mean it's possible. But I don't think his behavior here this evening in any way would be something that the Susen would approve of. But we should check out, I'm pretty sure that building in the back is where they may have had, and I suspect that he may have taken the same item that we were looking for.
Did it look like he had pockets and such to slip something like that, or was it more of a skin-tight leather jacket type thing?
Easily had pockets. I mean, he was wearing kind of casual attire, so he definitely had pockets, but you don't know how big or small this talisman was supposed to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, anyway, I guess we'll head towards the back.
Alright. As you make your way around that corner, you actually see where a victim was dragged, and you literally see nothing in the way of like body parts. You see just kind of blood paste all over the walkway. up against the walls of the house and the perimeter wall and along the ground. It's all kind of draining and pooling around this sort of like drainage area for like water runoff.
Hmm.
And as you continue on past that, you finally get to the garage where that young man had been standing before. He seems to be missing a head now. And if you make your way into the garage, there will be other things to see. Do you make your way in there?
Yeah.
All right. What you see is all sorts of contraband. Nothing too major. There's not any real guns there. But there are definitely, you know, just things that you couldn't normally get in Japan. And you'll notice that there is a safe in the far back of the room. But its door looks like it has been completely cut off from the hinges, and it's kind of laying somewhere far, far and away.
Hmm.
Does it look like it was cut off with a tool, or does it look like it's something neat and savage like Supernatural?
It looks like it was cut very, very cleanly.
So he did get here.
I assume it's empty, or are there a few?
There's a few things in there. There's probably about $3,000 worth of cash in there. There's a couple of pistols with 2 boxes of ammo each. And there is sort of this like red sash that's been kind of folded on the bottom thing and it's kind of resting inside of a looks to be like a plastic case. Looks like a woman's like ascot, maybe. I'm not really sure.
I'll pick up the red case and look at this sash.
It's very pretty with golden inlays in various designs of the Chinese zodiac, actually.
Hmm. Well, I guess we should take everything from the safe so no one gets an idea of what was what other than us, what these people are really after. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Whether we find the jade or not, however, we should clean up. I do feel the authorities would be very interested in what happened here. And we don't want any fingers pointed at us.
That is true. And this is near the edge of our protected part of Kyoto. We don't want any of the other extraordinary denizens of the city to catch wind of this either and think that we aren't able to take care of our own area.
True, but how does one even start to get rid of this type of thing?
Mop and elbow grease.
Oh.
That's a lot of cleaning up to do, by the way, guys.
Yep.
And that'll probably take you well into the dawn hours if you were to get started at the moment. But just gonna point out there, you do have somebody's number.
Somebody's number?
Well, you guys were called by somebody to come here.
Oh.
I'll probably call that and see who picks up.
You hear a gentleman on the other side, and he speaks very plainly. You've reached the office of of Kisaragi. May I help you?
Yes. Would you inform the Sozin that we we encountered a strange individual, and there's a need to have a cleaning crew at this location.
You hear a pause. He just asks you very politely to please hold for a moment. And on the other side, he finally comes back and says, "Help will be arriving shortly."
Okay.
And
I am going to begin cleaning. I'm not going to just wait for a cleaning crew to show up. I am going to try to begin to do the job
yep,
as a response.
yeah. Within 30 minutes, you finally see one of those kind of Mercedes vans kind of pull up, and it pulls up rather abruptly and backs almost completely into the gate. However, another vehicle pulls up beside it, a sedan that you saw earlier this evening. And stepping forth is our dear ancestor. And regardless of how nasty it might be in there, she never seems to step in it without even giving so much as an effort as she approaches the three of you. And she'll sort of look around with a sort of quizzical look, and she'll step past the three of you into the garage, walking up to the safe, looking at it, and then coming back to the... Going to ask, where is my artifact of jade?
Well, Susan, we have some rather unfortunate news to relay. A renegade individual of our kind arrived and created this havoc and made off with it before we were able to acquire it.
Could you describe this rogue for me?
He seemed youthful, red eyes, and hid behind a mask, had long white hair, and a dishonorable fascination with blood.
Really? Explain yourself.
He had very bad table manners in harvesting chi. He tasted from one of our wounds, our blood, and he used very powerful mastery of blood in his attacks. And I'll kind of look at the other two and look and say, was there anything you observed that I did not?
Yes, you do seem to forget. He did assist us in defeating our challenge. He actually helped us get out of a very sticky situation, despite how he took care of it.
She The Sosin sort of just looks at Sho, and her eyes narrow slightly as you say this. And it may dawn on you, it may not. I'll let you be the final arbiter of that. That you just kind of inadvertently admitted, to a small degree at least, some incompetence.
So
I-
he did mention one thing. He mentioned someone's tea. Did you catch what name he used? I believe it may have been Ketsuragi.
Yes, Susan, he seemed to know who you were, and out of respect, I do not believe that he necessarily assisted us to the extent that it may sound in our report. He did attack the ones that we were just fighting, but then continued to slaughter the rest after we had made him back down.
She seems to ponder this for a moment. As she does so, she kind of looks at Cho, and she actually slips her fingers in through the multiple stab wounds on the side of her dress, and just inspects for a moment before holding her hand out to the to Katsu for the red container he's holding.
He'll hand it to her.
And she'll open it and take the red sash out. It's about 4 feet long or so, and actually wrap it about her waist. These brigands are supposed to be a fairly obtainable task. And yet you had to call for... Well, you didn't really call for backup, it just sort of arrived, I suppose. All the same, I'm slightly disappointed that you weren't able to take care of it, but at the same time, you have brought up a very interesting set of circumstances, one that I did not think I would find myself in so soon. And she says this smiling before walking out of the garage. As I don't have the luxury of picking and choosing every little aspect of what goes on here, as our numbers are too thin, your failure to procure my item and your failure to properly defend yourselves against a ragtag group of mortals won't be forgotten. That much I can assure you. And she begins to walk past them unless any of them try to stop her or speak to her again.
I myself not sure. I know my character has etiquette, but I will respond with the best possible way to say that we will learn from this and next time will exceed her expectations. I'm not sure how to phrase that in a way that would be proper etiquette for Japanese culture.
She's still fairly informal at the moment. She just she lingers for just a moment after you say it, and then sort of looks over her shoulder, nods, and then continues on just as quickly as she came. She is vanished. leaving you guys to your devices. I think there is an appropriate place to end our scene.